to today's episode. I am excited to talk about today's topic. And today I am going to share with you an amazing itinerary. This is the reason I love to share itineraries from time to time is sometimes it is something that is completely unique and different. Most of the time it is. And then also to kind of showcase and highlight the types of things, the types of synergy that I can have with clients when they tell me, they give me the vision and they tell me the idea of what they're looking for and what they want. And then I am able to take that and actually craft an itinerary that works, that is seamless, that ticks all the boxes for them, and just that we are both so excited about. And I'm not sure if you know this, but I am just about as excited as my clients are to go on their vacations. I am so excited for them. While they are traveling, I'm thinking about them all the time. I'm always thinking, oh, I wonder how they're doing. I wonder if they're having a good time, and hopefully everything's working out great. And of course, I contact them while they are traveling, but I don't want to bug them. But anyway, I really, really love what I do. I love helping people go on amazing trips. And so it's so fun when it comes together, like it has in this case. I'm going to show you today a really great itinerary that I've created. They haven't traveled yet. We're still a couple months away, but we've got it all in place and everything's all deposited and held and everything's good to go. We are good to go with this itinerary. So it's just so fun. With all of that said, I am going to tell you about the title and then we are just going to jump in here. So the title of today's episode is Classic Italy and Beaches Itinerary. So that's kind of what I'm calling this itinerary, combination of some classic stuff, but also some beaches in Italy. So we get to really dive in and see what this is all about with these clients. In total, it's a 10-day itinerary. And of course, one beautiful thing about working with me to plan an itinerary, a customized itinerary, is that you can give me the parameters of how long you have, and I can fit what you are looking for into those parameters. So that's really awesome. But they had about 10 days to go, and this couple is celebrating their 15th wedding anniversary. And this is what they said when I talked to her originally about her vacation. She said, we want to go to Italy. You helped some friends of ours with an Italy trip and they loved it. And so we kind of want to do what they did, but really we just kind of want to do our own thing. And they said they wanted wanted to see Rome for just a minute. But really, other than that, they wanted to spend time outside of Rome and doing some other things. She said one of their big loves is beaches. And so they really wanted to incorporate some beach time in with Italy. Now, most people, when they think of traveling to Italy, they don't think of all the beaches that they are going to visit or how we're going to make this a beach vacation. And so it was a job to figure out like how to tick all the boxes that they wanted and things that they wanted to see, along with what was reasonable and feasible and wasn't going to be traveling every single day, just, wearing them out, running from one place to the next. So this is what we came up with, and it's really this fun, amazing option and itinerary. Okay, so let's jump in and I'll talk you through it. Day one, your flight departs for Rome. All flights over to Europe are always overnight flights, and so your flight will depart and then it will arrive the next day. So that already becomes day two, your arrival day. So when you arrive in Rome, then you get your transportation to the hotel, your driver is waiting for you, and go to the hotel. Now, we were trying not to break the bank. There are some other experiences that they wanted to do and things that they wanted to do that were a little more pricey. But in Rome, we basically were just looking for a hotel in a nice location that's very centralized, that they can walk and see a lot of different things and do things from where their location was, but that wasn't really going to break the bank. And so this is a good option. It's called the whole Hotel Trevi 41, and it's located near the Trevi Fountain, as you might think. So it's close to the Spanish Steps, and it's just a nice little option of hotels. It's very walkable, two different things. As you can see, the outside looks older, like it's been there for a while, but once you get inside, it looks beautiful and modern. And these are just some examples of what some of the rooms look like and the bathroom. Anyway, so everything has been updated and refreshed, and it's just a great location to kind of have a central. Also, because they are not going to be in Rome for very long. They are only staying in Rome for 2 nights. This first day, they can pretty much just be on their own and do what they would like. The second day, they're really just going to go on one excursion, and it's a small group excursion to see the Colosseum and ancient Rome. It is a small group, so the maximum number of people that they will have in their group would be 10. And so that is really nice. Lots of photo ops available, and they basically just take them around and get to see some of ancient Rome and the Colosseum and hear about Palatine Hill and hear about some of the history and the fun things around this area. So that is the only excursion that they are doing. They have the rest of the day free to explore and just do stuff on their own. Okay, then on day 4, they're checking out of the hotel and going to the train station. They'll have a driver that takes them to the train station and then take a train to Naples. From there, they will have a driver that picks them up at the Naples train station and takes them to their hotel in Sorrento. I do not recommend, this is one thing I will tell you if you are talking to me about going from Rome to Sorrento. A lot of people really love Sorrento. It's really awesome. The whole Amalfi Coast, Naples, Sorrento area is amazing. But I do not ever recommend that you take that train from Naples to Sorrento. It's an old train, it's rickety, it's hot. There are lots of pickpockets on that train. It's not one that I recommend to my clients. So that is another advantage to having somebody in your corner that you're working with to put together an itinerary like me that can give you those recommendations. Otherwise, they would have just said, oh, let's see, we know we have to change trains in Naples, and so let's just get the little local trains over to Sorrento. And most people are very unhappy when they take the train from Naples to Sorrento. And so it's not a very long way, and so I always recommend a driver. Then the hotel that they are staying in Sorrento is the Hotel Mediterraneo, and it's really close to a beach, of course, which they wanted a beach location. They do have breakfast included, and it's a beautiful hotel. You can see the location right there, and it's just really, really gorgeous. Great location, great views. We've got a pool, beautiful, beautiful hotel. And just, a 1-minute walk to the beach. So once they are in Sorrento, they are going to be here for 3 nights. And some of the things that they are going to do, they're going to do a half-day Pompeii tour. Originally, I had talked about maybe a longer tour, a Pompeii tour, but they came back and they said, no, we want to do a shorter one. And so that was great. So we booked a half-day Pompeii tour, which they leave around 8 in the morning, and then they'll be back just after lunchtime or right around lunchtime. And they will see Pompeii and the city there, and also the archaeological park of Pompeii. They'll see Mount Vesuvius, the remains of Mount Vesuvius, and they'll see the thermal baths and lots of great things all around Pompeii. Then the next day, they are going to Capri and the Blue Grotto. And this is a really fun excursion. It's also a very small group excursion, and just go in on the boat ride. You'll go to the Marvelous Grotto, the White Grotto, the Green Grotto, and the Blue Grotto. And then you'll stop in Capri and Anacapri and get to, look how beautiful that is. Stop in Capri and Anacapri and get to really just have a fun time in the little town of Anacapri with the tiny little streets, the geraniums, anyway, it's just really fun. You can have some free time there. Okay, now we are to day 7 already, if you can believe it. You check out from the hotel, and then I don't know if you have ever heard of a place called Matera. Matera is a fun city in Italy. It is kind of centrally located, so it's not right on a beach, but it is a cave town. And it is considered one of the very oldest towns in Italy. They know that it was very first built and founded in about the year 1000. And the reason that this is even a place to stay, besides being, a fun old city, is that there are homes and hotels and restaurants that are all built into caves. There are lots of caves all throughout this town, and they have really capitalized on it. So they asked about staying in a cave hotel, and it's called the Palazzo del Duca Matera. And as you can see by these pictures, if you are looking at the YouTube video, you can see that it really is literally that the hotel is built into the side of the cave. And it's just so fascinating and so fun to see these modern amenities with, showers and sinks and water and beds and, tiled bedrooms and all of these things, but with cave walls all surrounding. So they're going to stay here just one night, just for the fun experience of staying in a cave. And then the next day, their driver will take them to a town called Monopoli. And Monopoli is down south in Italy, and it is known for its beautiful beaches. And it's in the Puglia region. And so in Monopoli, they are going to stay for actually 3 nights. And for these 3 nights, they will really get to enjoy the beaches. So the hotel itself is right on a beach, and it's just a gorgeous, beautiful property set right on a beach with these gorgeous pools. Now, the beach is not a beautiful, like a white sand beach like you would imagine in the Caribbean, but it still is a gorgeous beach. It is kind of rocky. A lot of Italian beaches are rocky, but just beautiful. And there's beach loungers and pools and all of those things. And they are going to stay in this beautiful hotel for 3 nights. Now here, they are not going to rent a car. They really kind of wanted to avoid renting a car. If you were interested in renting a car on your Italy trip, we totally could have that be part of it, but they really kind of wanted to avoid that. And so I included here some suggestions for getting around in Monopoli. Now, of course, the most expensive but the most convenient way is a private driver, but you also can rent bikes. There are lots of beaches and things that are within biking or walking distance. You could take a taxi to somewhere, but your hotel front desk needs to arrange this in advance, because taxis just kind of live at the train station, but not really anywhere else in town. And so you need to talk to your hotel front desk to arrange a taxi to take you somewhere. But there are also lots of buses, local buses. And so you can get to lots of nearby towns and beaches and all over the place on buses. And so it's really going to be a fun adventure for them getting around in Monopoli. Now, we do have a couple of excursions scheduled for them. The first one is a private tour of 3 towns that are close by in the area. So you'll get picked up at your hotel, do this little walking tour. The first town is called Alberobello, and it's kind of like this picture postcard town. And it's just, the streets have little stone houses. They look like they came just straight from your imagination. They have pointy hats. They have pointy roofs on them in Alberobello. So the next town is called Cisternino, and it is labeled one of the most beautiful villages in Italy. It's a hilltop town, and it's just all this whitewashed, beautiful whitewashed buildings and flower-filled alleys, and just really a gorgeous spot. And then the third town is Ostuni, and it is also another hilltop town, and it is known as the White City. So it also has these beautiful whitewashed buildings. So the tradition of whitewashed buildings came originally because it was reflecting the sunlight so that it wouldn't be so hot, but also they believed that it was disinfecting against the plague. But now having whitewashed buildings is a law, so that it just all has that same iconic look to the city. So that is the first day, their first day of touring. And then their second day of touring is just for a couple of hours. It's called the Gozzo Boat Tour. And on this boat tour, they are going to see the Poliano Caves. So a little bit like the Blue Grotto and that area, that you leave from Monopoli and you sail over to the caves. So fun. to get to see the Poliano al Mare caves, and they just have a lot of great history that goes with them, and also a chance to swim. Okay, so one thing that they talked about wanting to do, and I would recommend that they do on basically this last day in this area, is to eat dinner at the famous Grotta Palazzesi. And this is a world famous, romantic, wonderful, amazing restaurant that is here. And it is very quite pricey, but it is also very elite and very cozy and very romantic. And the dishes are just amazing. All right, so that would be their final night in this area. Then on day 11, they wake up and check out from the hotel. Now, this is their last full day, or their last partial day, most of the day, in town, because I arranged an evening flight for them to get back to Rome so they can fly home later, on the last day of their trip. So this evening flight isn't until 6:40 p.m. And so the nice thing about that is that they have all day to just explore and hang out at the beach or hang out at their pool, at the hotel, whatever they want to do on this final day in Monopoli. And then they have an evening flight right to the Rome airport. And then the hotel that they are staying in, the Hilton Garden Inn Rome Airport, they actually have a shuttle to the airport so that the next day they will sleep here that night, and then the next day they will get the shuttle back to the airport and have their flight home. It turns out to be day 12 because they have 10 days that are actually in the country. So when I send you a proposal for what your trip could be like, I always give you down at the bottom of the proposal, I always give you the pricing and what it all includes. I give you the amount of the deposit that is due and when the final payment is due. So I always break all of that down for you. I will always give you a cost for what the insurance would be, and we have a talk about that. And so I think that is very helpful in preparing an itinerary for some clients so that they know what to expect. Now, I also wanted to, if you are watching the video, I wanted to show you, this is a map of what their journey looks like in Italy. They start out in Rome at the Trevi 41 Hotel, and then they come down the coast and to Sorrento, then across the country to where the Matera is and the caves, and then over to the opposite coast where Puglia and Monopoli are. So I thought that would be a fun way to just kind of visually show you what those clients are going to be doing. If you could craft your ideal itinerary, where would you go? What would you do? I think this is really great that these clients wanted to combine a little bit of the traditional Italy with something that is non-traditional in going to beaches and seeing the caves in Matera and really getting to do their own thing and not just a cookie cutter type of experience. So let me know if you would like help putting together your perfect itinerary. Like I said, they didn't want to drive. They wanted to mostly just have drivers and trains and things like that. So that's what we did for them. But whatever your itinerary would be ideal for you, that's what I would love to help you craft. So thanks so much for coming along for the ride with me today and experiencing this amazing Italy itinerary with beaches and also classic Italy. So thanks a lot, and we will talk to you in a couple of weeks. If you've enjoyed this podcast, I would invite you to like, share, or leave a review. Let's help grow our wellness travel community.